calling a lot of these games,
No,
but
I was.
ultimately Milwaukee was unable to close the series out.
Yeah, yeah, it happens. So another series to get into. The Suns were eliminated. Remember, before when this all started, they led the series 2-0, right? Yeah, 2-game head start. Um, yeah, and the Mavericks won the series in Game 7. This game was terrible. You know how much I was looking forward to Game 7s, and both of them turned out to be trash. Like, come on. When I think of Game 7, I think of competitive and down to the wire. You know, those type of games. These games were blowouts. Both of them. And the Suns was the worst. I think they were down by the most in NBA playoff history at the half in the Game 7. I think it was like at least 30 something. And it was terrible. CP3 was bad. Devin Booker was bad. This team as collective was terrible. It was just such a bad look. And apparently there are reports out now after the fact that CP3 could have been hurt. I think it was a quad injury that was reported. Mark Spears reported it on his Twitter. And Mark Spears is a well-known NBA reporter. So if he put that out there, that means Chris Paul definitely probably had it. He denied to comment on it. So if this is true, it would explain why he was bad. You know, because remember, after he turned 37 or whatever, he was like terrible the rest of the series. So we were wondering, is it old age or is it like something else? But if that injury had anything to do with it, that would make sense to me. And to play through that injury anyway. Yeah. But yeah, how does this affect the Suns and CP3's legacy?
Man, it was such a disappointing way to go out. You know what I mean? There's nothing worse than you get to get to a Game 7. To get to this point, you've been battling all series long, and it's been, they take a game, you take the game. They take a game, you take the game, and finally you get to the conclusion of the series, and to go out by 30 at the half. I was texting you. I was like, I'm not about that. If nothing happens like midway through third, that's it. I'm about to start watching, I don't know, something else. I can't do that. And for them to go out that way was just disappointing. CP3, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, none of them could put the ball in the basket. And I don't know why. And it just was disappointing. Shout out to Luka. Shout out to Spencer Dinwiddie in that series. They were amazing, especially in Game 7. Each of them getting 30. They look great, but I think as far as CP3, the injury makes sense. At times, I think that when I was looking at him, he just didn't look like he was mentally, to me, he just didn't look like he was mentally in the game. Maybe something was bothering him. I know that the thing happened with his family on Mother's Day, like when family members got pushed or something in front of his kids. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but he definitely didn't look the same after that second game. And knowing him, he probably was trying to battle through the injury. Didn't want to, make a big fuss about it. But it really sucks because I feel like this was like another, like one of his prime chances to get to championship contention. You know what I mean? To get to the championship and win it after like coming off of their finals run last year and now they're out in the second round. It just sucks. I don't think it does major damage to his CP3's legacy. I just think that the championship window is very much closing at this point. If it's so many questions that have come from this loss is that, DeAndre Ayton was, didn't get that extension that he was looking for. So now what are they going to do with him after that last game? That's your even though we know how good he is throughout the season, what's gonna happen like after this? Because that's the last thing that we as viewers have seen on the basketball court. And he wants, a bigger contract, a bigger role. Devin Booker, I think he'll be fine. I think he just had an very off game. Like I said, I think CP3's championship window is very much not shut completely, but very much almost closed. So got to see where it goes from there. But I don't know, man. The Suns that was disappointing. I was like, this can't be real. I just knew that there was, even if you lose by 10, 15, not 30, not 40, 50, that was insane. So that's what my thoughts are. I don't know, man.
Yeah, just to clarify, man, this is how bad it was. Like, CP3 was worse by the halftime, but it was like he picked up scoring at the end. That wouldn't really help. Like, but he ended with like 10 points and 4 assists. Right? Devin Booker had 11 points. Terrible shooting percentage. Right? Plus minus is terrible. And to note, Aiden only played 17 minutes. So that goes to something happened on the bench, between DeAndre Ayton and Monty Williams. And Monty Williams decided not to speak about it. He said that it was internal. We don't really know what's going on there, but we can only assume, like you said, it's about his contract extension. But to let that affect the game right there, though, in the game 7, when you have championship aspirations, it's kind of bad. But to go out that way to the Mavericks, who no one really predicted they'll be in this situation, right? Clearly, we both thought like the Suns were at an advantage here. We chose them to win.
I picked the Suns to go back to the finals.
So this is definitely a disappointing season if you're the Suns. What does this mean for CP3? It's like, man, another one. It's another chance for him to have an opportunity to advance in the postseason, and then, here it goes again. Now it's like an injury. CP3 has been known to have these injuries in these playoff runs. When you're like almost right there. I remember the time when he was with the Rockets. Right there. But he was out due to the injury. And I just kind of hate it for him because he's been trying. He changed his diet up. He's been working really hard, but to just constantly get these injuries is, I don't know how he's feeling, because it's got to be surely disappointing, especially when you're so close. And this is why it's important to like get these games out the way. And one of the things that the Mavericks did is they put CP3 in these different situations where he had a guard, where he had a guard Luka, right? And they were working him on the defensive end, and it's like, I guess it wore his body down over the course of the series. Fatigue does build up, especially he's such an older age right now. So shout out to Jason Kidd for coming up with that game plan, because it definitely worked. And as far as Devin Booker goes, I don't know, the Mavericks actually stepped up to have pretty good defense. That was surprising to see. So overall, CP3, this it's not looking good as far as his legacy is concerned, though, because we all want him to get one. We all do. Man, but it's just it's hard to see. I can't see him getting one now anytime soon, because the West is going to get healthier. The Clippers will be coming back next season. They should be, if everything's going well with Kawhi's health and PG's health. And the Lakers, you got to assume they'll always be a factor just because they have LeBron James. And we see the Grizzlies coming out now, and the Mavericks definitely now, and it's just hard to see. And there's some teams that didn't make the postseason that we normally expect to be there. Like, we expect the Nuggets to go further. They're probably fully healthy, right? And what about the Trailblazers? Normally we see Dame in there, but he was hurt this season. Maybe he would have got in. The Pelicans seems to be on the rise too. So it's just tough.
It's gonna get tougher. Yeah.
It's only gonna get tougher for CP3. It's like you had 2 prime opportunities this season and last season. Still couldn't get it done. Same thing happened last season. They were up like 2-0 to Milwaukee, and Milwaukee came back and won the series. So it leads me to think about his time with the Clippers with Doc, all those blown leads, and here we see it again with the Suns. And even though it's just 2 games to nothing, it's still 2 games, and your team is definitely capable enough to win on the road. Yeah. But it's tough for CP3. Is he a top 5 PG still in your mind?
Top point guards of all time. Top 5? I wouldn't say top 5.
The reason I said top 5 is because remember when he made a finals run last year, a lot of people were thinking about him as top 5. So
I mean, it's kind of hard. I gotta really wrap my mind around who's point guard and everything.
And you got to think about it like
I wouldn't say top 5.
I wouldn't say top 5 either because all the 5 have a chip at least, you know.
Yeah.
And he's ahead in the record books, true, but it takes more than that to be like an all-time point guard. And unfortunately, he just took another hit. So, yeah, top 10. Yeah, what do you think? Top 10 at least?
I'll say top 10. I don't think they're.
But so if I put them top 10, it's like towards the lore of the team still, like.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like, because you got to think about all the guards in NBA history, and some of the guards that are playing now, like Steph Curry, would still, you know. So it's tough. It's tough. Dang, I just hate it. I just hate it for him. And one more thing, Monty Williams just won Coach of the Year.
Oh,
and to not have your squad ready for a Game 7. I at least expected the Coach of the Year to have his squad ready, and I hate that for him too. I just wanted to be at least a little bit more competitive, not a blowout like that. And this is like everybody on Twitter got at him. Like everybody on Twitter was going at the Suns for having this blowout like that. Anthony Edwards got on them too. Like y'all talked about us not hoping this to be the playoffs, and y'all getting us like blown out at halftime. Like it's a lot, and hate it for the Suns.
Yeah, I mean, just whatever you do, you take the loss, but not like that. Not 30, 40 points. That's where I'm like, all right. That's why it's disappointing. Because they were the best team in the league, and
right.
This is the sum of that. It's like, no, this is not good. But
not good
maybe next year. I don't know. I don't know. That window is, you know, open for just a second, you know, and